And whoever asks, just look right here in the middle.
I'll do my best.
Ready? All right, well, the first question is probably going to be the hardest one, and that's your name.
That's a really hard question. Steve Hennigan.
Can you spell that, please? First and last name.
Steve, S-T-E-V-E-H-E-N-N-I-G-A-N.
And your title here?
I'm the President and CEO of Credit Union.
So we're here because you're building special. I guess energy efficient and stuff like that. Tell us about why you decided to do that. This building, do that.
Well, the first reason we did it was that our first building that we built back in 1976 had kind of run its useful life. It was time for us to get a new building. So we needed to spend some time to think about how we're going to look at the next 50 to 100 years on our buildings. And so as we began to contemplate the space we're going to need for our employees, the space we need for the community, how we operate, the business that we serve, the membership, we needed to really focus on the long-term sustainability of how this building will be built and how it will perform. And so from the bottom of that, we went back to look at how things worked under the city's attempts to change its climate change action plan and how we were going to play a role in that. And given that we were going to be a long-term owner, we looked at all the investments we could possibly make to make this building as sustainable, as environmentally responsible, and fiscally responsible as possible over the lifetime of this building. So it's a really long horizon. When we build buildings, they're meant to last a long time, and so why wouldn't you do everything you possibly can to ensure that these buildings operate in a sustainable way for the longest possible life?
And how's it been going so far?
It's going really, really well. We set some very, very aggressive standards for ourselves, and we're probably at 95% of those standards for today. We've only been in a year. We're still fine-tuning the building. We need a little bit more rain for our rainwater capture systems, but other than that, the geothermal, the solar arrays, all of those are performing to specs. Yeah.
And how is it working with the city?
Well, the city's been great. Obviously, we had not just the city partnership, it was the San Antonio River Authority, the SAWS, CPS was very instrumental in this process. So it was really all of the municipalities that were involved in this project to make it successful. And I would just say that they were just a joy to work with. They were very good partners in how this project was going to work. So we couldn't thank them more for this effort.
What's the one thing that you, as far as like about this building, as far as the energy, saving energy and all that?
Well, I think the most important thing that I'm most proud of is that it's really not hard to do solar. It's not hard to do rainwater capture. It's not hard to do geothermal. It's not hard to do a tight building envelope. But really what's hard is to integrate all of those technologies into one design and make sure that it all performs seamlessly. So we've really achieved a great integration of all these proven technologies. There's nothing that's experimental in this building, but we've achieved what we thought we could was taking proven technologies and integrate them together into one harmonious symphony of sustainable practices.
And my understanding, this is the first building in Texas that uses all this stuff?
We're not aware of another building in Texas. In fact, we're only aware of 3 buildings in the United States that are at the standard of this building. And so for what we've done in the climate that we're operating in, on the environmental footprint that we're trying to achieve on a 3-acre lot in Midtown with a mid-sized building, it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. We're real proud of the people that helped to make this happen.
Given the high point, how much water you save, how much energy you save?
Yeah, so the overall design of the building was to reduce the demand side first, and once we reduced the demand side, we applied the supply side. And so the overall water demand of a building like this would be about 4 million gallons per year. And when you start taking away from low-flow devices to and then supplying it on the supply side with rainwater, we capture all the condensate in the building. We reduced a tremendous amount of water because the geothermal loop doesn't require water, which allowed us to reduce cooling towers. So when you look at water reduction alone, we're well above 80% from our baseline building from what we were planning. On the electricity side, we're well above 90% because the building itself is about 40% more efficient. And then when you look at all of the internal elements we did for plug loads and how our workstations work, we reduced another 15 to 20%. And then we've supplied about 40% of the remaining power from the solar arrays on the roof of the building. So we're well in excess of 90% reduction of power as well.
And one other thing I was told, you even use the food that you guys don't, I mean, you don't throw away.
Well, yeah, so we looked at everything from not only energy and water usage, but also waste streams. And so all of our waste streams and how we basically take waste and take it all the way to the landfill, we were looking to reduce that as well. So we went back to conventional uses of plates and cups. We got rid of all the plastic in the building. We also got rid of all the bad food in the building as well. So we're really trying to make sure that the entire experience for our employees results in them learning new practices that not only help them at their homes and how they're going to see their futures, but also it helps us reduce our environmental footprint.
Anything else?
I got more to say. That's it. But thank you. Appreciate the time. All right. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
You had another. You put this one. I think you got the one that he's
Oh,
got.
this is yours.
All right. There you go, gentlemen.
Test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, test. Test, test, test. Put it back.
For me, for Steve, the mayor and others, this is a pretty impressive building. I was just listening to Steve cite some of the attributes of the building and what they've seen so far in terms of performance, and it truly is impressive. And we've also been looking at this building from the city side as we embark on our next round of bond projects, and what is the city going to build, and what is feasible, and what can be done. And what makes this so significant is, again, proving that it can be done, and that you can be environmentally responsible and fiscally responsible at the same time. The elephant in the room is climate change. We are experiencing unbelievable heat and impacts, and it's stressing the grid. It's stressing people and people's ability to thrive in their homes. And to show that a building that can be designed, again, efficiently, fiscally responsible, that's also going to significantly reduce demand. Again, that's the bar that we really need to hit. And then to celebrate today, the climate ready portion. Climate change is here, the impacts are here now, and they're not going to go away. So how do we design buildings not only reduce what's being contributed, but also respond and adapt for the tenants in the community. So I'm thrilled to be here and really acknowledge this tremendous result. Just want to recognize just a few special guests here in the room. Bexar County Commissioner Barnard, Rudy Garza, CEO of CPS Energy. I think our only BSAG board member is Drew Higgins. So Drew, thank you for being here and all you do. And just want to thank all the credit union folks who are here from the top on down. Because again, it's not just about the building, it's about the company, it's about the people and that commitment to doing what's right. With that, I'd really just love to turn it over to someone who's really sort of led our climate and sustainability work since he took office years ago. But I'd like to ask the mayor to come on up and just say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. So now, fortunately or unfortunately, we have had a 6-week advertisement for a business like this outside going on with this incredible heat. It is great to be here for this exciting announcement and presentation, so thank you very much for joining us. Build San Antonio Green should get everybody to pause in their tracks when their name is stopped, because they've been a partner with the city for more than 20 years. They've long worked toward mitigating the effects of our changing climate through energy efficient building and emissions reduction, having almost 33 million square feet of certified green buildings in San Antonio to date, with, get this, another 40 million square feet under construction. You heard that right. Back in 2014, Lena told me that there was 14 million in the portfolio, 14 million certified square feet. Today there are 33 with another 40 under construction, and that includes 10,000 new homes. That's simply incredible. We all know we're experiencing this incredible heat firsthand this summer. It's oppressive, it's dangerous, and our community is facing the great challenge of how we adapt to the climate changes as we deal with extreme weather. The Climate Change Certification Program was developed in response to our SA Climate Ready plan as a solution to help our buildings and our community adapt to changing climate, and goes beyond simply energy and water conservation now to energy and water security. And these are incredibly important measures that we take, because we know that roughly 1/3 of the work that we have to do to achieve our climate plan and to achieve our goals has to do with how we build our community. These features include preparing buildings and the occupants for extreme heat, drought, flooding, and more. I'm excited to be able to announce and congratulate Credit Human for earning the first ever Build San Antonio Green Climate Ready certification for this building. Great job, Steve. Through the thoughtful leadership of our very own business and climate rock star, Steve Hennigan, and the Credit Human board, it was thoughtfully planned, designed, and built to be one of the most resilient buildings in our region, for sure, in the state of Texas, and perhaps in the entire United States. And it aligns with Build San Antonio Green's mission, as well as the city's climate action and adaptation goals. This 200,000 square feet building was designed to use 96% less energy than a building of similar size and 97% less water. Simply, it is great for the environment, and it's even better for business. The building's renewable energy measures include a 1 megawatt, you heard that right, 1 megawatt solar system that will supply 40% of the annual energy demand. And the building utilizes rainwater capture and low-impact development features as well. It is a gold standard and something that I think more building and development will start to emulate, because it makes good sense for business as well as good sense for the environment. While this building is impressive on its own, it represents what is possible for us to achieve as a community to become more resilient. So I want to thank Build San Antonio Green for continuing to be persistent in their aims and for bringing along new champions. Steve, you're at the top of that list for your work in helping us achieve our climate goals as a city. So again, once again, congratulations to Build San Antonio Green. Thank you, and congratulations to Steve Hennigan and Credit Human for their leadership in showing our building and development community what is possible. This building stands as an example that we are working together on solutions to help our entire community prepare for the future. I'm so grateful to be here today, and absolutely this is a day worth celebrating. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those words, Mr. Mayor. Another climate champion locally that I'd like to call up to say a few words, our District 1 Councilman Mario Bravo.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you to Credit Human for having me here today. I've been really excited about this building for a long time. And I'm grateful for Steve and Jim Campbell for having given me a personal tour of this building to see how amazing it is. And this building has inspired me, it has inspired others in our community, and it's something that I've taken to our city, and I've asked our city manager and our head of public works to come over here and take a tour. And we haven't quite gotten that scheduled yet, but I know we're going to. We're still working on it with the goal of getting the city to build to something approaching this standard. Now, not everybody's going to be able to hit it, but if we could start building in ways that approach it, you know, like the mayor said, it's a good investment of taxpayer dollars. There are cost savings in building to this standard as well. In addition to that, in addition to inspiring our community, I think one of the things that it has done is it's served as a demonstration project to show what can be done, but also to bring contractors along, because a lot of contractors do not know how to build to this standard, do not know how to build with these techniques. And so this is bringing them along as well, which needs to be done so that so more people in our private sector will build to this standard as well. And so I'm really excited to be here. I'm, very proud of the work that you all are doing, and we look to follow you and try and bring more along in our community. One last thing is that I think in the past in San Antonio, people have thought about economic development as sometimes selling our city as having cheap labor, and as and what was the other thing? I'm sorry, I have a Rick Perry moment here. Sometimes we pay a business to relocate here. And I think of economic development, I know the mayor shares this with me, this value, is that there are young, talented people who could choose to live anywhere in the world. And so how do we build a world-class city? How do we build a globally competitive city where they would choose San Antonio? And it's with a lot of the values in which we build our city. And this is a very important value right now when it comes to climate change, when it comes to resilience. When you want somebody to move to a hot climate, you have to show them that you acknowledge that climate is changing and that you are building, you are future-proofing your community for that. And that's what you all are doing here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. And the next person I'd like to call up is somebody I've known for many years now, and has been very inspiring to see her vision as well as the work that her staff have been doing. Again, a small team, but with big impact. And looking forward to hearing your words about this new certification. So I'd like to ask Anita Ledbetter, Executive Director of BSAC, to come on up.
Thanks, Doug. Good morning. We are Build San Antonio Green, and we were founded in 2001 by the City of San Antonio, CPS Energy in Bexar County to reduce emissions here in our community. And our mission is to protect and enhance the quality of life of the people of San Antonio through our work. Green building, solar, EV. We have certified over 32 million square feet of green buildings here in our community, which is like taking about 32,000 cars off the road every year. But this morning, we are here to certify the first climate-ready building through our program. Our vision in creating this program was to prepare buildings for changes in our local climate, such as increased heat, longer periods of drought, and hotter days. This program was developed in response to the SA Climate Ready Plan, and today represents our evolution from green building to the future, the climate-ready building. With the weather changing and becoming more extreme, we're going to have to change the way that we think about buildings and how we live in them, moving beyond just reducing emissions, but also focusing on climate adaptation. A climate-ready building is a green building with additional criteria to help us adapt to our changing climate, like heat-resistant materials, alongside water and energy security. This building is designed to also drive sustainable behavior and culture. Climate ready is the future of green building. I would like to congratulate Credit Human and thank you for your transformational leadership. I believe this building is truly a gift to San Antonio. I would like to now ask our technical director and my partner in crime for many, many years, Lena Luque, to join me in presenting this plaque to Mr. Steve Hennigan.
Oh my gosh. One more. It'll be on display prominently in the lobby, I promise.
And if you'd like to see it now.
I would, that would be great. Thanks, Julia. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our wonderful building. I'm just so glad to see you guys here. This has been a project a long time in the making. The genesis of this project actually goes back to about the same time that Anita mentioned that BSAG was being formed. Actually, I was on the CPS Energy Board in 2001 for 10 years as a trustee, and I remember my experiences there. Actually, going through the entire fact. We were going through Senate Bill 7, which was the deregulation of electricity. Then we had to deal with the next generation of generation plants in San Antonio. At the same time, carbon was becoming a problem. And so how are we going to solve these problems at the municipal utility? And I was just always amazed at the power and the creativity of the CPS Energy engineering staff. And they taught me so much about what to do. So when it came time to do this building, it wasn't that much of a stretch for us to imagine it. In fact, the Green Mission Verte was actually started at about 2007-8, which led to the STEP program. And because I was all part of all of that thinking, it wasn't really that difficult to think about what's possible. So when it came time to begin to design this building, reaching out to the standards by which how this building would be built, our partners, Silver Ventures, who are also in the room here, who are equally as important in receiving this award as we are, because they had the creativity as well to allow us to dream and to dream big on this. We used one standard for everything that's in this building, and it was what's theoretically possible. And what that basically means is it proved to us it can't be done. And if you notice the technologies in this building, they're all proven technologies. There's nothing experimental in this building. Everything we've done has been proven to be a formidable technology, a sustainable technology, and a cost-effective technology. All we did that was different is we integrated them. We put all these integrated technologies together, starting with the building envelope. We really worked on the demand side of the equation first. We reduced the demand on the energy side about 56%, and on the water side about 35-40%. And then from there, we then went after the supply side. But it was that approach that allowed us to see what was really possible. And because we built this as a project across a district of 2 buildings, with the Oxbow building with ours, we were able to share these resources on this 3-acre lot. So imagine what the environmental harvesting potential of 3 acres is in San Antonio, with 30 inches of rain and 300 sun days a year, and a 72-degree surface temperature below in the geothermal sector of the building. And so those 3 areas became the harvest for us. Now, how can we effectively harvest that? To take something that's there, we don't have to spend a lot of money on producing the energy and the water. We just have to simply harvest it. And that's what was the genesis for the process. I want to just say along the way, I never had any doubt in my mind, Mayor, that the municipal community, SAWS, CPS, Sarah, and the city would work with us together. And in fact, they did a great job on this, which tells us that it really is possible. It wasn't that difficult. We had to get creative on a few little areas for the most part. But it worked. It worked extremely well. And there's no doubt in my mind, Mayor, that with the next buildings that come forward under this standard, they're going to have an easier time than we did. And it wasn't that difficult for us to do that from a city perspective. When it came time for this award, I got to tell you, Lena was amazing. We gave her several thousand technical documents to read, and I believe you read every one of them. And so you didn't need to read all of them, but you really went through all of them. And I really admire the tenacity you guys are pursuing the climate change action plan under. With regard to the climate change action plan, the CAP plan that's in place today, it became very evident to us before CAP was actually being formed that the buildings of the future needed to change, and so CAP has actually confirmed that. Obviously, the transportation sector is the largest sector, but the buildings is second. With respect to our building, we built our building in 1976 out on I-10 at Vance Jackson, and for those that don't know, our utility bills in 1976 were about $30,000 a year, combined electric and gas. In 2019, the bills on this building were nearly $450,000 a year. So you can actually do the math to figure out what that delta was from the time we built it to what it is today. So when we started to build a building for the future, given that that building had lasted us about 43 years, if we build a building that at least take us 50 years in the future, and if you think about what utility rates are going to do, coupled with the fact of decay of materials and buildings when you build them, we anticipate that this building will deliver a rate of return somewhere between 12 and 13% per year on an annum basis. So I want you to think about that. If you can make a 12 to 13% pre-tax, after-tax rate of return on your portfolio, virtually guaranteed, why wouldn't you do that? What in your portfolio earns 12 to 13% today? And what you really hear us saying is that as a financial institution, it's actually just prudent business for us to make these investments. While we embrace the environment and it's important to us, the more important thing as a financial cooperative for our members is that we steward their membership's money effectively. And so what you see us saying today is that this building is going to be a far more economic decision than it's going to be a sustainable decision in the long run. So not negating the sustainable benefits that we're doing that we're very committed to, it really is a financial decision at the end. And it's not that much of a reach to think if you're going to build a building that lasts 50 to 100 years, why wouldn't you put every possible technology available in the building today with the paybacks? And I want you to think about, once the rainwater system's paid for, you don't have to replace it. You just have to maintain it. Once the solar arrays are installed, you have to replace panels 25 to 30 years out. But for the most part, the infrastructure is built. The sun continues to shine, the rain continues to fall, and the earth continues to produce the geothermal temperatures for the pipes in the ground. So what you hear me really saying is that it's really possible. I want to thank the people that helped design this building. While we had the vision, it took a lot of technical expertise to do this. Folks at Kirksey here in town, they helped us with the primary design of the building, Don McDonald as well on the aesthetics as well. From an engineering perspective, we had a mechanical firm, Glumac, out of California, that helped us a lot with the work on how we're going to get this done. That was one of the bigger challenges in San Antonio is we got to get some more technical expertise here. It was just no different than when we started solar back in 2004 and 5. We didn't have the expertise, and if you look in the community, we have a lot of expertise today. So it's just really about building up that capability and that expertise. With respect for building the building, I don't think there's a better builder in America, in my view. I'm a little biased than Joris. They know how to build one of these now. And I'm going to tell you that if anyone needs a building built, just call them. And that's an advertising person. And it's basically, I'm being unselfish about that. But if you look at just everything that's been done in the building, we're just really blessed and proud. We haven't had enough rain this year, but fortunately the recycled water line that we're relying on is being very effective for us. The solar energy is producing everything we thought it would be, and the geothermal systems is producing exceptional. And as many of you may not know, when you have buildings of this size, you typically have to put boilers in these buildings to heat them in the wintertime. Well, there's no boilers in this building. This building is all run on the geothermal energy loop, both buildings, in fact. And so we have actually no fossil fuels being burned in the production of any heating and gas directly in this building at all. So that's one of the main things that was really impressive to us is that we do that. And if you ask me about one of the things that was most surprising is the synergy of these technologies when they came together. And so most of the engineering thinking that goes into it, they use this incremental process where you pick the best technology, you reduce the demand, and then when you the overall demand, and when you get to a point where you got your break-even point design, you quit adding technologies. We approach this a little differently. We approach this from a portfolio perspective where we're looking for the synergies between the various technologies to come together instead of an incremental approach to design. So for example, one of the biggest profound surprises we got is that by putting in the geothermal energy wells in the ground system here, we reduced the cooling tower capacity from 6 cooling tower requirements to 2. That reduced then 1 million gallons of potable water per year needed. So I want you to begin to think about that as when you start to take a geothermal system and now you can reduce water for cooling towers, and then you look at that over a 50 to 100-year period of time, what is that worth to us? And that's quite profound. So I would just inspire you guys to think differently about how you do things in the future. Do not accept the status quo. These things do make sense financially. My board was tough cookies to talk to about this, but they were very thorough in this. They made us make sure all the numbers work. There was a lot of skeptics in our accounting and finance teams at the time that did this, but at the end of the day, I think they were sold. And if you look at the numbers today and the data on our building, it's producing the results we thought. So again, I want to thank Anita and her team for all that they're doing. I want to thank what you guys are doing for the community. I think you guys are in a great position to continue to move the needle forward. I hope this building serves as benchmark for the next standard, and I really do look forward to the time when this building becomes second to another building. So, thank you all. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen. I hope we can do that also. I think it's, as you've shown, it works. It's just taking the time to design properly with that outcome in mind. But thank you all for coming. That's the end of the event. Please stick around for reception and some conversation. And we look forward to having another celebration soon on our climate journey. So thank you all.